Hi, I'm Jen from Acadian Accounting Education, and today we are going to practice reconciling a bank account. So if you would like to grab a copy of the exercise, be sure to click on the link in the description, and let's get started. All right, let's go ahead and get reconciling. Now, this exercise is coming from our Level 1 ProAdvisor certification course, which if you would like more information about that course after we go through the exercise, be sure to click on the link in the description. But let's dive in and read through today's scenario. As a bookkeeper, your primary responsibility is to ensure that all financial transactions are correctly categorized and match the flow of money into and out of the bank. You have just received the monthly statement from Craig's bank. Now it's time to confirm that all the transactions have been correctly added to and categorized in QuickBooks Online. Now, you'll need to be in the sample company to do this exercise. If you are not sure how to get into the sample company or get your own free QBOA account, be sure to click on the link in the description. I have the sample company here on the left side of my screen. This is the dashboard and what it will look like once you sign in. So let's go ahead and get started with the exercise. To start reconciling, we first need to click on Accountant Tools and then select Reconcile. So Accountant Tools is on the top of the screen right here. Click on that, and then under Quick Links is Reconcile. Now, know that you have the Accountant Tools here because you are an accountant user. If Craig were to reconcile the books himself, he would instead go to Transactions, hover over that, and then select Reconcile. Now, you will get this welcome message if this is your first time in this area. It's just extra information from QBO. So go ahead and just click on Get Started, as well as the next one that pops up at clicking on Let's Get Started, or Let's Get Reconciled, excuse me. So for the remainder of this exercise, you will need to refer to the sample bank statement. So go ahead and click on that link to download the PDF, and it should open for you and look just like this. So go ahead and do that now, and then open it up as we are going to be referring to it a lot in this exercise. Okay, so in the ending balance field, we want to enter the ending balance that's found in the statement or the sample bank statement. So go ahead and click into it. I am going to zoom in quite a bit. And here we go. Here is that ending balance of $3,890.89. So in this statement ending balance, that is what we are going to enter. I'm actually going to see, oh, I can't highlight it over it. I was going to try to highlight and copy. So it is 3890.89. 3890.89. There we go. Now, in a real life scenario, you would use the ending date from the bank statement. It would be showing here. We do not have an actual date here because in the sample company, the dates are always changing. And so we leave it a little bit more generic. So, for the purpose of this exercise, we are going to enter the last date of the previous month as the ending date. So for me, I am recording this video in March. So I am going to enter the last date of last month, which is February 28th. So click on the calendar icon and then select the date that is appropriate for you based on when you are doing this exercise. So the last day of last month. And then we're going to go ahead and click on Start Reconciling. So go ahead and do that. And you will come to this screen. Now, if you have never reconciled before, this may seem a little intimidating. So let's take a closer look and review each of these parts before we get started, just to make you a little more comfortable and give you an understanding of what each of these things mean. So the very first thing here is this beginning balance. It is the ending balance from the last time that you had reconciled. It cannot be changed. So in the sample company, it's preset here to this $5,000, but this is from the last time that you reconciled is what this beginning balance would be. This statement ending balance is what we just entered on the previous screen. It is what is found on the bank statement. If you happen to discover if your statement ending balance or the statement ending date happen to be incorrect, you can go ahead and click on this Edit Info button and make an adjustment. All right, so then down below here, we see all of the transactions that we need to review. Or at least most of them. Next to each of these transactions is a circle. Now, this will have a blue check mark if the transaction has already been marked clear. So, as you're processing the bank feeds, if you process them before you reconcile, which you should, you would already see these blue check marks here. This just means that it is correct. I'm going to uncheck that. But we are going to be doing that as part of the reconciliation process. So, more on that in a minute. So, when a transaction is checked, it is going to be added to the total payments or deposits, depending on which type of transaction it is. So, for instance, if I clicked on this one, you can see this $300 payment moved up to this area. Now, the cleared balance right here is the beginning balance minus this combination of payments and deposits. We have over here the difference. Now, this is the statement ending balance minus the cleared balance equals the difference. The ultimate goal of reconciling is to check off all the transactions that match until the difference is zero. Once you see that green check mark, it's very satisfying as a bookkeeper to see it. And one final thing here, the transactions currently showing here are only those dated on or before the statement ending date that we entered on the previous screen. Now you can turn this filter off by clicking on this X right here. And you may need to do this if you have transactions that were added with an incorrect date. These are often referred to as hidden or rogue transactions. So if you're looking for something that's on the bank statement but not showing here in QBO, maybe the date was wrong. So you want to click out of that filter and see if maybe if it will show up at that point. All right, so now that we've gone over everything in the screen, let's get reconciling. So in the remaining steps of this exercise, we are going to complete the reconciliation by checking each transaction until the difference is zero. If you happen to be clicking around and clicked on some that have blue check marks, be sure to unclick them now. If you did a lot, you could just click on the top and then unclick it again, or just individually unclick them. You want to make sure that you have 0 and 0 showing here in the payments and deposits as we get started. All right, so if we look at the sample bank statement, let me zoom out a little bit, you'll see that it's broken down here from deposits, checks, and then other debits. So we are going to sometimes bank statements will just have everything listed completely in one document, or not one document, one in one order. This is broken out by types. So let's go ahead and reconcile based off of how they have it set up. So for instance, these deposits and other credits, to filter out just those to see, we can click on this deposits tab right here. All right, so now we see only the deposits that are showing. So let's go through these against the bank statement to see which ones are matches. All right, so we have a first deposit check for 175, which is the top one for Bill's Win Surf Shop. Then another one for $86.40, which is the next one from Freeman Sporting Goods. Then we have an ACH deposit from Kate Whalen for $225. Let's go back there. That happens to be the next one. Then we have a deposit check for $105. So let's go see where that one is. That's from Amy's Bird Sanctuary. It is the next one. Then we have a deposit check for $694. So let's go ahead and take a look there. So that one's from Cool Cars. So go ahead and click on that one. And then finally, we have one for $337.50. So let's take a look here. There it is right there. All right, so now we have looked at all of the deposits. Let's go ahead and find and check all of the checks. So we need to get out of this payments tab. Let's click on our deposits tab. Let's click on the payments tab. So go ahead and do that. And then let's filter this by type or sort it by type so that we can see just the checks all grouped together. So click on type here, and you should see it here at the bottom, all of the checks grouped together. So let's go ahead and look at all of those checks and then go ahead and check them off as we find them. So we have check number 2 for 1808. So check number 2, Mahoney's mug. Go ahead and click on that. And then check number 4 for $54.55. Here's check number 4 and then $54.55. Check number 5 for $62.01. So check number 5, Chin's Gas and Oil, 6201. Then we have check number 12 for $55. So let's look for that one. Check 12, $55. There it is. We have check number 69 for $100. So this check says $100. There is nothing here in this reference number field, which is the check number. We're going to come back to this in one moment. Let's skip this and look at the final one, which is check 70 for $185. So go and look for that one. That's Chin's Gas and Oil again. So click on the circle next to that. Now, as I mentioned, one of the checks is missing a check number. We can be relatively certain that this is check number 69 because it is for the same amount. If we had access to the bank records, we could view the check image and confirm this. But for the purposes of this exercise, we can just assume that it is. So let's edit the transaction to add that check number. Let's go ahead and click on Tony's transaction line. So go ahead and click anywhere on that. And then in this field right here, it's empty. We want to type 69 and then go ahead and click on the green Save button. And now make sure to click the checkbox next to it. And now we have finished all of the checks. So now we can go ahead and check the remaining debits. Let's go ahead and sort this by date so it's in the order that we originally started with. So let's go back over here towards the top, click on date. Now it's going to sort it so that the newer things are at the top. Go ahead and click on it one more time so that the oldest transactions are going to show at the top and then goes down in chronological order here. All right, so we need to take a look at the sample bank statement and start going with it. Or checking them off. So we have one here. Actually, we have two for Robertson and Associates, one for $300, one for $250. So let's see if we can find both of those. Those happen to be right here at the top. So go ahead and click on that. Then we have this Board of Equalization payment, a sales tax payment for $38.50. So here is sales tax. Now there are two transactions here that have similar amounts. You want to check the one that actually matches the bank statement, which is this $38.50. In a real life scenario, you would want to investigate to see what happened here. For the purpose of this exercise, we're going to ignore it, but perhaps it was a duplicate, or maybe it is correct and it just happens to be very similar amounts. So for this exercise, we're going to continue on, but just know that if you see two transactions that are very, very similar, be sure to investigate to make sure that you're selecting the correct one and that the other one is also supposed to be there as well. Okay, so let's take a look, continue on. We have one for Tanya's Nursery for $89.09. That is this one right here. Then we have another one for Hicks Hardware for $250. So let's go ahead and do that. Then we have, let's see, Squeaky Clean, or no, sorry, I went too far. Tanya's Nursery for $108.09. So that happens to be right here. Go ahead and click off that one. Then we have Hicks Hardware, $24.38. So let's look for that one. Here's Hicks Hardware for $24.36. So this one has a different amount than what is on the bank statement, except in rare cases, the bank is always going to be correct. So we'll want to correct the transaction in QBO. So we'll do that in the next step after we finish going through the rest of the transactions. All right, so now we have squeaky clean car wash for $19.99. So that happens to be right here. Now, I do see that there is another squeaky clean car wash transaction. It does say check, and it's probably not the one that we would want, but just as an aside here, if you happen to see same amount, same vendor, be sure that you are checking the dates as well. Here in our example, because the sample company always changes dates, we don't use dates, but just keep that in mind as you are going through same vendor, same amount. Make sure that they're both proper transactions. And if so, make sure you are selecting the one that is matching the date on the bank statement. All right, so now we have Bob's Burger Joint for $5.66. So that is right here. Then we have Chin's Gas and Oil for $52.14. So here we go. Then we have Hall Properties. We have a $900 payment. So let's go look for that. That happens to be this one right here. Go ahead and click on that. And you can see our difference is getting closer and closer to zero, which is what we want to see. Hicks Hardware, $215.66. Seems that Craig goes to Hicks Hardware quite often. Let's see what else is here. We have the final one here is going to be Bob's Burger Joint for $3.86. So that one happens to be right there. All right, so the difference shows what is remaining unchecked. You'll notice that the amount equals the transaction in the bank statement that has yet to be checked. So remember here, there was that one for Hicks Hardware for $24.38, and that happens to be what the current difference is. So this is the one transaction that needs to be checked off in order to match that. Before we do that in QBO, it is showing us $24.36, so we need to correct the amount on that one. So let's click on that Hicks Hardware transaction, and we're going to make the adjustment right here to $24.38. Go ahead and click on Save, and then you can go ahead and click on the circle right next to it. Here we go. And you will notice that as soon as you do that, that the difference is now showing as zero. There's that check mark right there that you want to see as a bookkeeper. All right, so go ahead and click on the green Finish Now button, and you will get this screen. So congratulations, you have just finished reconciling. Keep this screen up for one moment here. As in a real life scenario, I want to point out that you would have in this pop-up the opportunity to attach the statement right here. But in the sample company, they don't actually have this feature, so there's nothing there. But in real life, you would have the opportunity to do so. Now, as another note there, if you notice that there were still a bunch of transactions in there, there will always be some transactions that remain unreconciled because transactions clear the bank at different times than when they are entered in QBO. So this is usually not an issue, but if you find that there is a transaction in there that hasn't been cleared after a few months, you might want to investigate that. All right, so now that you have this pop up here, let's go ahead and click on a report to see what you just did. So click on View Reconciliation Report. And when you do, this is what will pop up for you. Now, this report will show you in detail what you just did. Now, there is an opportunity for you to print this report in a real life scenario. All you would do is just click on this printer icon on the top right corner of the report to do so. Now, let's just take a moment and say that you, after looking at the report, that you realize that you need to undo the reconciliation. To do this from this screen, you would want to click on History by Account. So click on this. And then if you get a pop-up, just click out of that. And then to undo the reconciliation next to View Report, you would want to click on the down arrow, and there would be a drop-down to make the selection to undo it. Now, this is not available here in the sample company, which is why you only see Print Report, but just know that in a real-life scenario, that is how you would do it. And that's it. That's how you would reconcile a bank account. Now, if you like this exercise and you would like to do more like it, or you would like more information about that Level 1 ProAdvisor certification course, be sure to click on the link in the description, and I will see you next time.